Captain Jake Morrison stood at the main window of Earth Defense Station Alpha, watching the stars. It was a quiet Tuesday morning, just like any other day in space. His coffee was getting cold, but he didn't care. Something felt different today. "Captain," called Lieutenant Amy Parker from her station. Her voice was tight with worry. "We're getting some strange readings on the long-range sensors." Jake walked over to her console. The green screen showed dozens of dots moving toward Earth. Too many dots. "What am I looking at, Amy?" "Ships, sir. Big ones. Really big ones." Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. "They're coming out of hyperspace right now." The main screen lit up with the most terrifying sight Jake had ever seen. Massive ships appeared in the black space above Earth. Each one was the size of a city. They kept coming, one after another, until the space around Earth looked crowded. "How many?" Jake asked quietly. Tony White, the communications officer, was counting on his screen. 2,012 ships, Captain. All of them are huge." Jake felt his stomach drop. Earth had 12 defense stations and maybe 50 small fighter ships. These alien vessels could wipe out humanity without breaking a sweat. "Lisa," Jake called to Chief Engineer Lisa Brown. "Get me a connection to Earth Command, now." While Lisa worked on the communications, Jake stared at the alien fleet. The ships were dark and mean-looking, like giant metal dragons floating in space. He had never seen anything so scary in his life. "Sir," Tony said, "we're getting a message from the alien fleet." "Put it on screen." The face that appeared made Jake step backward. It looked like a lizard that had learned to walk like a man. Its eyes were yellow and cold. Its teeth were sharp like a shark's. When it spoke, its voice was deep and full of hate. "I am Admiral Zethkalar of the Draconian Empire," the creature said. "Your world is now under our control. You have 24 hours to surrender. If you fight us, we will kill every living thing on your planet. If you surrender, we will only kill half of you." The screen went black. The station was quiet for a long moment. Then Amy started crying softly. Tony was shaking. Lisa just stared at her controls like she couldn't understand what she was seeing. Jake felt scared too, but he was the captain. He had to be strong. "Lisa, did you reach Earth Command?" "Yes, sir. General Rick Davis is on the line. Put him through." "General." Davis appeared on a smaller screen. He was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. "Jake, I know what you're thinking, but don't worry. We have a plan." "A plan?" "Sir, there are over 2,000 enemy ships up here. They're each big enough to hold 1,000,000 soldiers. What plan could possibly work?" The general smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. "Just watch, son. And whatever happens, don't ask questions. Can you do that for me?" Jake wanted to ask 100 questions, but he just said, "Yes, sir." The hours passed slowly. The alien ships moved into position around Earth like they were getting ready for a party, but it wasn't going to be a fun party. Jake could see smaller ships moving between the big ones. They were probably loading weapons and getting ready to attack. Amy kept checking her sensors. "Captain, these ships are armed with weapons I've never seen before. Each one could destroy a whole city with one shot." Jake nodded. He had seen the reports from other worlds the Draconians had attacked. They always did the same thing. They would surround a planet, demand surrender, then attack whether the planet gave up or not. They liked to kill. It was what they did best. As the sun set on Earth below them, something strange started to happen. "Captain," Tony said, "one of the alien ships just disappeared." Jake looked at the main screen. Tony was right. Where there had been a massive warship, now there was just empty space. No explosion. No flash of light. It was just gone. "Sensor error?" Jake asked. Amy checked her readings twice. "No, sir. The ship was there and now it's not." Then another ship vanished. Then 3 more. Then 10. "What's happening?" Lisa whispered. Jake had no idea. The alien ships were disappearing one by one. Not exploding. Not flying away. Just ceasing to exist. It was like someone was erasing them from space itself. Admiral Zethkalar's face appeared on screen again. This time he looked worried. "What are you doing to our ships?" he demanded. Jake activated the communications. "We're not doing anything. We don't know what's happening either." The alien admiral's eyes got wider as another group of his ships vanished behind him. "This is impossible. No weapon can do this. Our shields should protect us from anything." But the ships kept disappearing, dozens at a time now. Jake watched in amazement as the most powerful fleet in the galaxy just faded away like morning fog. "Sir," Amy said, "I'm reading massive energy signatures from everywhere. It's like the whole solar system is charged with some kind of power." The disappearances were happening faster now, hundreds of ships vanishing every few minutes. Admiral Zethkalar was screaming orders at his crew, but nothing they did made any difference. "Retreat," the admiral finally shouted. "All ships retreat to hyperspace." But the remaining ships couldn't move. They seemed frozen in place, waiting their turn to vanish. Within 6 hours, it was over. The space around Earth was empty again, just stars and the small human defense stations. Over 2,000 alien warships had simply stopped existing. Jake and his crew stood in silence, staring at the empty space where the most dangerous fleet in the galaxy had been. "What just happened?" Amy asked quietly. Jake had no idea, but he knew one thing for sure. Earth had secrets, big secrets, and someone down on the planet below knew exactly what had happened to those ships. The question was, who? The news spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. The Draconian Empire, rulers of half the known worlds, had lost their greatest fleet. 2,000 warships had vanished over a small blue planet called Earth. Nobody could believe it. On the planet Centauri Prime, Captain Veltar received his orders from the Galactic Council. He was a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and silver eyes. His job was to find out what happened to the Draconians. "Take the Starlight," his commander told him. "Find out how these humans destroyed an entire fleet. The whole galaxy is watching." Captain Veltar nodded. He had heard about Earth before. The humans were new to space travel. They had only discovered faster-than-light flight 50 years ago. They were supposed to be weak and primitive. How could they defeat the mighty Draconians? 3 days later, the Starlight arrived at Earth's solar system. The ship was sleek and white, much smaller than the Draconian warships, but filled with the best science equipment in the galaxy. "Run full sensor sweeps," Captain Veltar ordered his science officer, Dr. Nixara. She was from the same race as him, but had 6 arms instead of 4. Each arm worked on different controls. "I'm not finding any weapon signatures," Dr. Nixara said after an hour of scanning. "No energy residue from explosions, no debris. It's like the ships were never here." Commander Theklan, the military expert, on the ship studied the readings. He was a warrior from the Silicon Brotherhood made of living metal and crystal. "This makes no sense. Even if the humans had a superweapon, there should be some trace left behind." On Earth, President Kate Sullivan sat in the White House Situation Room. Around the table were the most important people in the world. General Rick Davis commanded all of Earth's military forces. Dr. Alex Johnson ran the Department of Advanced Defense Research, a secret organization that most people didn't know existed. "The aliens are here to investigate," General Davis said. "They want to know what happened to the Draconian fleet." "What do we tell them?" President Sullivan asked. Dr. Johnson adjusted his glasses. He was a thin man with gray hair who looked like a schoolteacher, but he knew secrets that could change the galaxy. "We tell them nothing. We act confused and scared, just like they expect us to be." President Sullivan didn't like lying, but she understood why they had to. "How long can we keep this up?" "As long as we need to," Dr. Johnson said quietly. Captain Jake Morrison got new orders from Earth Command. He was supposed to help the alien investigators while being very careful not to reveal anything important. It was a dangerous game. The Starlight docked with Earth Defense Station Alpha. Captain Veltar and his team came aboard wearing special breathing equipment. Earth's air was fine for them, but they wanted to look official. "Captain Morrison," Veltar said through his translator device, "we need to examine everything. Your weapons, your sensors, your computer records." Jake nodded and tried to look helpful. Of course. We want to find out what happened too. It was very scary for us. Dr. Nixara started scanning everything on the station with her portable equipment. Her 6 arms moved like a dance as she worked. Your technology is very simple, she said. These weapons couldn't hurt a Draconian scout ship, much less destroy a whole fleet. We know, Jake said. That's why we're so confused. One minute they were there, the next minute they were gone. We thought maybe you would know what happened. Commander Theclon examined the station's defense systems. They were basic laser cannons and missile launchers. A child could see that. These weapons were useless against advanced warships. Did you see any other ships? Maybe another alien race attacked the Draconians? Amy Parker, who was helping with the investigation, shook her head. No, sir. It was just us and them. Then they started disappearing. For 3 days, the Centaurian team searched everywhere. They examined every piece of equipment on the station. They scanned Earth's moon and the other planets in the solar system. They found nothing that could explain how the Draconian fleet had vanished, but other ships were coming. The Andromedan Collective sent their own investigation team. The Silicon Brotherhood wanted answers too. Even the mysterious Void Watchers, who rarely talked to anyone, sent a small black ship to watch from far away. Soon, Earth's solar system was full of alien ships again. But these weren't here to attack. They were here to solve the greatest mystery in galactic history. Dr. Nixara met with the other alien scientists on the Starlight. There was Dr. Zix from the Andromedans, a creature that looked like a walking octopus. Constructor Prime from the Silicon Brotherhood was there too, a robot the size of a small building. Even a Void Watcher came, though it stayed in the shadows and didn't talk much. The humans are telling the truth, Dr. Nixara said. Their technology is too simple. They couldn't have done this. Then what did happen? Dr. Zix asked, his tentacles waving in confusion. Constructor Prime's mechanical voice was deep and loud. Perhaps the Draconians encountered something beyond our understanding, an ancient weapon left by a dead civilization. The Void Watcher whispered something that made all the others feel cold, even though they couldn't understand the words. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Johnson watched the alien ships through his secret telescopes. Each alien race was trying to solve the puzzle, but none of them were even close to the truth. They're getting frustrated, he told President Sullivan during their daily meeting. The Andromedans are talking about doing a deep scan of our entire solar system. Can they find our equipment? The president asked. Not with normal scans, but if they use quantum sensors, Dr. Johnson looked worried. We might have to make some hard choices soon. In space, Captain Veltar was having the same problem. His superiors were demanding answers, but he had none to give. The mystery was making everyone in the galaxy nervous. If something could make the Draconian fleet disappear, what else could it do? Send a message to the Galactic Council, he told his communications officer. Tell them we need more time and tell them to send more ships. If we're going to solve this mystery, we're going to need help. As more alien ships arrived at Earth, Jake Morrison watched from his station window. The space around his home planet was getting crowded again. But this time, the aliens weren't here to conquer. They were here to find the truth. And the truth was something humanity wasn't ready to share. 50 years ago, everything changed for humanity. Dr. Helen Carter was leading a small research team near Jupiter when they found something that shouldn't exist. It was a ship, but not like any ship humans had ever seen. The vessel was huge and old, drifting dead in space. It had no crew, no power, and no signs of life. But the technology inside was beyond anything humans could imagine. This is impossible, Dr. Carter whispered as she walked through the empty corridors. The walls seemed to bend and twist in ways that hurt to look at. This ship is older than our solar system. Her team included young Dr. Alex Johnson, who would later become the head of Earth's most secret project. Back then, he was just a curious scientist who wanted to understand everything. Look at these control panels, Alex said, running his hands over surfaces that felt warm and alive. The symbols keep changing. It's like the ship is trying to talk to us. Dr. Carter's team spent 3 years studying the alien ship. They learned that it belonged to a race called the Architects, beings who had died out millions of years ago. The Architects had built technology that could bend space and time itself. The most amazing discovery was something called dimensional fold technology. It could take objects and move them to a different layer of reality, a place that existed next, to normal space but was completely separate from it. It's like having a giant invisible box, Dr. Carter explained to the secret government committee that funded her research. We can put things inside the box and they disappear from our world. But they're not destroyed. They're just somewhere else. The problem was that the technology was dangerous. It needed a special kind of brain to control it safely. The architects had designed it to work with their own minds. Human brains were different, but they were close enough to make it work. Other alien species couldn't use the technology at all. Their thoughts were too different from the architects. Only humans had the right kind of mind to operate the dimensional fold systems. Dr. Carter died 10 years after finding the ship, but her work continued. Her grandson, Dr. Alex Johnson, took over the project. He built a secret facility deep under Cheyenne Mountain, hidden from the world. Lieutenant Colonel Ben Hayes ran the military side of the operation. He was a tough soldier who understood that sometimes the best weapon was one your enemy didn't know existed. We need to be ready, Colonel Hayes told his team during one of their secret meetings. Someday something bad will come to Earth. When it does, we'll be the ones standing between humanity and destruction. Dr. Rachel Stone was the lead scientist working on the project. She was brilliant and careful, always making sure the technology was safe before they used it. The dimensional fold generators are working perfectly, she reported. We can phase objects up to the size of a small moon. Major Sam Wright coordinated between the scientists and the military. He made sure everyone understood their job and kept the secret safe. We've run 1,000 simulations, he said. We can handle anything from a single ship to a whole invasion fleet. The dimensional fold generators were built in secret over 20 years. They were hidden in Earth's magnetosphere, invisible to normal sensors. Even humans flying through space couldn't see them unless they knew exactly where to look. The generators could reach out and grab objects in space, then fold them into a pocket dimension where time moved differently. Objects stored there would be safe but cut off from the normal universe. They could be brought back later or left there forever. For 30 years, humanity watched the galaxy in secret. They learned about the Draconian Empire and their conquest of other worlds. They studied alien technology and military tactics. They prepared for the day when Earth would become a target. The Draconians always do the same thing, Dr. Johnson explained to President Sullivan when she first learned about the project. They surround a planet, demand surrender, then attack anyway. They've destroyed 47 civilizations using the exact same plan. And we can stop them? The president asked. We can make them disappear, Dr. Johnson said simply. They'll be alive but trapped in a dimension where one day equals 1 year in normal time. We can decide later what to do with them. The dimensional fold technology wasn't just about defense. It was about giving humanity time to grow stronger. While other species fought wars and destroyed each other, humans could develop in safety. We're not ready to face the galaxy as equals, Colonel Hayes admitted during a planning meeting. But someday we will be. This technology gives us that chance. When the Draconian fleet arrived, everything went according to plan. The dimensional fold generators activated automatically as soon as the alien ships entered Earth's solar system. The process was invisible and silent. One by one, the massive warships were folded out of normal space. Admiral Zethkalar and his crews found themselves in a gray, empty dimension where their instruments didn't work properly. They were alive, but completely cut off from the rest of the universe. Time moved slowly there, so what felt like days to them was actually weeks in normal space. The alien investigation teams had no chance of finding the truth. The dimensional fold generators used technology that was millions of years more advanced than anything in the current galaxy. The energy signatures were hidden in quantum frequencies that normal sensors couldn't detect. They're looking for explosions and debris, Dr. Stone said, watching the alien investigators through secret cameras. They can't imagine that we just moved the ships somewhere else. Dr. Johnson felt sorry for the alien scientists. They were smart and dedicated, but they were trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. They think in terms of destruction, he said. It never occurs to them that we might have been merciful. But mercy had a price. The Draconian fleet was slowly dying in the dimensional pocket. Their life support systems were failing, and their food was running out. Soon humanity would have to decide what to do with 2 million alien soldiers. "We can't keep them there forever," Colonel Hayes said during an emergency meeting. "Eventually, someone is going to figure out that we're responsible." President Sullivan knew that the secret couldn't last much longer. More alien ships were arriving every day, and their sensors were getting better. Soon, they would detect the Y-dimensional fold generators. "How long do we have?" she asked. Dr. Johnson looked at his calculations. "Maybe a week. The Andromedans are planning a quantum scan of the entire solar system. That will reveal everything." The time for hiding was almost over. Humanity had kept their secret for 50 years, but now they would have to choose. They could reveal the truth and take their place among the galactic powers, or they could use their technology to make the investigation teams disappear too. Either way, Earth's quiet days were ending. The news reached the Draconian homeworld 3 weeks after the fleet disappeared. Emperor Krathzul threw his golden throne across the royal chamber when he heard. His scales turned black with rage, and his roar could be heard throughout the palace. "Impossible," the emperor screamed at his generals. "Admiral Zethkalar commanded our greatest fleet. No primitive world could defeat him." General Vexnum, leader of the Second Fleet, bowed his head. "My lord, we must assume the fleet is destroyed. We should prepare for war." "No," the emperor said, his voice becoming cold and deadly. "We will not assume anything. Take 500 ships to this Earth. Find out what happened to our brothers. If these humans killed them, burn their world to ash." Admiral Kexthor received command of the Second Fleet with orders to learn the truth. He was younger than Zethkalar, but just as cruel. His ships were loaded with planet-killer weapons that could crack a world in half. The news of the Second Fleet's departure spread fear throughout the galaxy. Every species remembered what happened when the Draconians got angry. Whole civilizations had been wiped out for smaller insults. On Centauri Prime, the Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. Representatives from 50 worlds gathered in the Great Crystal Dome that served as their meeting hall. Ambassador Lixandra of the Andromedan Collective spoke first. Her tentacles waved nervously as she addressed the council. "The Draconians are mobilizing for total war. If they attack Earth, it could start a galaxy-wide conflict." The Silicon Brotherhood's representative, Constructor Omega, stood up. His metal body gleamed under the dome's lights. "We must protect Earth. Whatever happened to the Draconian fleet, these humans don't deserve to die for it." But not everyone agreed. Ambassador Thys of the Reptilian Alliance hissed his words. "The humans are hiding something. No one makes a Draconian fleet disappear without a trace. They have a weapon, and we should fear it." The debate continued for hours. Some wanted to protect Earth. Others thought the humans were too dangerous. A few suggested that maybe it was time for someone to challenge Draconian power in the galaxy. Captain Veltar watched the political arguments from his ship near Earth. Every day brought more vessels to the solar system. The space around Earth was becoming a dangerous place filled with ships from different species who didn't trust each other. "Captain," Dr. Nixara reported, "I'm detecting quantum fluctuations throughout the solar system. Something is interfering with our deep scans." "Natural phenomena?" Veltar asked. "No, sir. This is artificial. Someone is hiding something big." Commander Thecklon studied the energy readings. "If I didn't know better, I'd say someone has built a massive network of unknown technology throughout this system." Veltar felt a chill run through his blue skin. "Contact the Andromedan science ship. Tell them we need to combine our sensors for a complete system scan." On Earth, alarms were ringing in the secret facility under Cheyenne Mountain. Dr. Johnson watched the monitoring screens with growing worry. The alien investigators were getting too close to the truth. "They're preparing a combined quantum scan," Dr. Rachel Stone reported. "If they focus all their sensors together, they'll detect the dimensional fold generators." Colonel Hayes looked at the tactical display showing all the alien ships near Earth. "We have 47 vessels from 12 different species out there. If we phase them all into the pocket dimension, The galaxy will know we're responsible. President Sullivan felt the weight of the hardest decision in human history. She could order the alien investigators to be disappeared like the Draconian fleet. It would keep the secret safe but make humanity look like monsters. Or she could let them discover the truth and face the consequences. How long before the Draconian Second Fleet arrives? She asked. 3 days, General Davis replied. Admiral Kexthor is not known for his patience or mercy. Dr. Johnson had been thinking about the moral problem for weeks. Madam President, we can't keep hiding forever. The Draconian fleet we captured is dying. We've kept them alive for almost 2 months, but their life support is failing. You're saying we need to make a choice, the President said. Yes, ma'am. We either become galactic criminals by letting them die, or we reveal our technology and save them. Major Sam Wright had been monitoring alien communications. The situation is getting worse. The Andromedans think we have some kind of super weapon. The Silicon Brotherhood wants to protect us. The Void Watchers are just watching. And the reptilians think we should be destroyed before we can use our mystery weapon again. Captain Jake Morrison received new orders that confused him. Earth Command wanted him to prepare for possible combat operations, but also to be ready for a full diplomatic revelation. The two orders seemed to contradict each other. Amy, he said to Lieutenant Parker, what do you think is really happening here? Amy had been thinking about it for weeks. Sir, I think our government knows exactly what happened to those Draconian ships, and I think whatever we did, we can do it again. The tension in space was getting worse every hour. Ships from different species were positioning themselves defensively, not trusting their neighbors. The Andromedans had formed an alliance with the Silicon Brotherhood to protect Earth. The reptilians were staying neutral but ready to fight. The Void Watchers had moved their black ships closer, which made everyone nervous. When Admiral Kexthor's Second Fleet arrived, the situation exploded into chaos. 500 Draconian warships dropped out of hyperspace in battle formation, weapons charged and ready to fire. Attention all vessels, Admiral Kexthor broadcast on all frequencies. This is Draconian space now. Any ship that interferes with our investigation will be destroyed. The Andromedan Fleet Commander responded immediately. We are here under Galactic Council authority. You have no jurisdiction in this system. We have the jurisdiction of superior firepower, Kexthor replied. Stand down or be destroyed. Constructor Omega's massive ship moved between the Draconians and Earth. The Silicon Brotherhood will not allow the destruction of innocent life. The space around Earth became a powder keg ready to explode. Hundreds of warships faced each other with weapons ready. One wrong move would start the biggest battle the galaxy had seen in 1,000 years. In the secret facility, Colonel Hayes watched the tactical display with growing alarm. If shooting starts up there, the investigation will be forgotten. But thousands of beings will die. President Sullivan knew she was out of time. The Draconian fleet in the pocket dimension was dying. The galaxy was about to tear itself apart over Earth, and humanity's greatest secret was about to be discovered. Anyway, contact all the alien fleets, she ordered. Tell them I want to address everyone at the same time. It's time to tell the truth. President Kate Sullivan walked into the communications room in the White House. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. She was about to change the galaxy forever. Are all the alien fleets receiving our signal? She asked the technician. Yes, Madam President. Every ship in the solar system is listening. Dr. Johnson stood beside her holding a small device that would control the demonstration. Colonel Hayes was ready to activate the dimensional fold generators on her command. This was the moment 50 years of secrets would finally be revealed. People of the galaxy, President Sullivan began. I am Kate Sullivan, leader of Earth. You came here looking for answers about what happened to the Draconian fleet. Today, I will give you those answers. In space, hundreds of alien ships stopped their preparations for war. Every captain, every scientist, every warrior was listening to the small human woman who was about to explain the impossible. Admiral Kexthor's reptilian face appeared on screens throughout the fleet. Speak quickly, human. My patience is ending. 50 years ago, the president continued, Humanity discovered an ancient ship left by a dead civilization. Inside that ship was technology beyond anything we had ever imagined. Technology that could move objects to another dimension. Captain Veltar looked at his science officer. Dr. Nixara's 6 arms were moving quickly over her controls. Captain, I'm detecting massive energy buildups throughout the solar system. Whatever they're planning to show us, it's big. President Sullivan nodded to Dr. Johnson. We will now demonstrate this technology. We have selected a small asteroid in your asteroid belt. Watch your sensors carefully. The asteroid was about the size of a building, spinning slowly through space between Mars and Jupiter. Every alien ship had sensors locked onto it. Dr. Johnson pressed a button on his device. Deep in space, invisible dimensional fold generators came to life. Energy flowed through quantum fields that existed between normal dimensions. The asteroid began to shimmer like it was made of water. Then, piece by piece, it started to fade away. Within 30 seconds, the asteroid had completely disappeared from normal space. Impossible, whispered Constructor Omega from his massive Silicon Brotherhood ship. The asteroid still exists, President Sullivan explained. It has been moved to a pocket dimension that runs parallel to our own. Time moves differently there. What feels like minutes to the asteroid is actually hours in our world. Ambassador Lixandra of the Andromedan Collective was amazed. Her tentacles were waving in patterns that showed extreme surprise. No species in the galaxy has this technology. How did primitive humans master dimensional science? We didn't master, Torisan the President said honestly. We learned it from beings who died millions of years ago. The technology only works with human minds. Other species cannot control it safely. Admiral Kexthor was not impressed. Tricks with rocks mean nothing. Where is my brother's fleet? President Sullivan took a deep breath. Admiral Zeth Galar and his entire fleet are alive. They are in the same pocket dimension as the asteroid. We moved them there to prevent a war. Bring them back, Kexthor roared. Bring them back now, or I will turn your world into burning ash. We will bring them back, the President said calmly. But first you must understand something. We could have destroyed your fleet easily. Instead, we chose to save them. We chose mercy over murder. Dr. Johnson activated the retrieval sequence. The process was more complex than making things disappear. They had to carefully calculate the exact position where the ships would reappear, making sure they didn't crash into each other or into other vessels. Space began to shimmer near Earth's moon. Slowly, the massive Draconian warships started to fade back into normal reality. One by one, 2,000 ships returned from the dimension where they had been trapped for 2 months. On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Zethkalar looked around in confusion. His crew was weak and tired. Their food had almost run out and many of their systems had failed. But they were alive. Admiral, his communications officer said weakly, we're receiving a message from Admiral Kexthor. Zethkalar's face appeared, on screens throughout both Draconian fleets. He looked older and humbler than before. Brother, he said to Kexthor, these humans, they could have killed us all. Instead, they kept us alive in a place where time moved like thick water. They are not what we thought they were. Captain Jake Morrison watched from his station as the huge alien fleet reappeared. He had known his government was hiding something, but this was beyond his wildest dreams. Humanity had technology that could move entire fleets between dimensions. The galaxy watched in stunned silence. Every species had theories about weapons and warfare, but none had imagined anything like this. The humans had not destroyed their enemies. They had simply moved them somewhere else and kept them safe. Ambassador Thys of the Reptilian Alliance was the first to speak. If humans can do this to Draconian fleets, what stops them from doing it to any of us? Nothing, President Sullivan said simply. We could make any fleet disappear. We could phase entire planets out of normal space if we wanted to, but we don't want to. We prefer peace. Constructor Prime of the Silicon Brotherhood made a sound like grinding metal that was their species' way of laughing. Fascinating. The most powerful species in the galaxy prefers peace to conquest. The Void Watcher ships, which had been silent throughout the entire crisis, suddenly broadcast a message. Their voices were whispers that seemed to come from far away. The architects left their gifts well. The inheritors choose wisdom over strength. Dr. Johnson was surprised. The Void Watchers knew about the architects. That was information Earth's scientists had never shared with anyone. Admiral Kexthor looked at his brother's weakened fleet, then at the human ships that seemed so small and harmless. You kept them alive when you could have killed them. Yes, President Sullivan said. That's what civilized people do. For the first time in his life, Admiral Kexthor felt something he had never experienced before. Shame. His people were known throughout the galaxy for their cruelty, but these humans had shown mercy to their enemies. Captain Veltar spoke for many when he said, "The Galactic Council will want to meet with your leaders immediately. Technology like this, it changes everything." "We're ready to talk," President Sullivan replied. "We've been watching the galaxy for 50 years, learning about all of you. We think it's time we joined the community of worlds as equals." Over. The following days, the crisis ended peacefully. The Draconian fleets returned home with stories of human mercy that spread throughout their empire. The investigation teams became the first official diplomatic contact between Earth and the galaxy. But in the secret facility under Cheyenne Mountain, Dr. Johnson was looking at star maps that came from the ancient architect ship. The maps showed locations of other architect ruins scattered across multiple galaxies. "Madam President," he said during their private meeting, "the dimensional fold technology is just the beginning. The architects left much more than we've told anyone about." "President," Sullivan looked at the star map showing distant galaxies filled with ancient secrets. "How much more?" "Enough to change the universe," Dr. Johnson said quietly. "And now that we're part of the galactic community, we're going to need it." Earth had finally taken its place among the stars. But the greatest adventures were still waiting to be discovered.